The information shared in this video by US Updates Hub is for educational and informational purposes only. This is not legal advice. Immigration laws, visa availability, and government policies change frequently. Always consult with a qualified immigration attorney or accredited representative before making any legal decisions about your immigration case. US Updates. Hub and Timothy are not responsible for any actions taken based on this video. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello everyone, and welcome back to US Updates Hub. Today, the July 2026 Visa Bulletin is right around the corner, and if your name is sitting on a waiting list for a family-based or employment-based green card, this bulletin could directly determine when you move forward or whether you face a painful setback in your immigration journey. As many of you already know, the Department of State releases a brand new Visa Bulletin every single month. And the July edition is especially critical because July marks the beginning of the federal government's new fiscal quarter. And historically, this is the time when we see considerable shifts, surprising advancements, and sometimes deeply disappointing retrogressions across multiple preference categories. Today, I, Timothy, am going to walk you through exactly what leading immigration experts and attorneys are anticipating for the July 2026 Visa Bulletin. Which categories are likely to move forward? Which ones are at serious risk of retrogression? And most importantly, what does all of this actually mean for you and your green card journey? If you are finding this topic valuable, I urge you to stay tuned until the very end of this video. And if you are enjoying the content here at US Updates Hub, please do me a huge favor, hit that bell button, subscribe to the channel, and give this video a thumbs up so that you receive our latest updates straight to your smartphone. Every single like and subscription helps us bring you more content like this. Now let us dive right in. Before we get into the actual predictions, let me take a moment to address the single biggest misconception that surfaces every time the Visa Bulletin is mentioned, because this misconception causes an enormous amount of unnecessary panic and worry among immigrants. Here is the truth. The Visa Bulletin does not approve or deny your green card. It does not cancel your petition, and it absolutely does not mean that you are being removed from the country. So what does it actually do? The Visa Bulletin tells you whether a green card visa number is currently available for someone with your specific priority date, your visa category, and your country of birth. Think of it like a queue at a government office. The bulletin simply tells you whether the counter is ready to call your number. If your date is not current, you simply keep waiting. Your petition, your I-130, or your I-140 remains completely intact and valid. Nothing is lost. That distinction matters enormously, and I, Timothy, want you to hear it loud and clear right here on US Updates Hub today. Now, with that critical foundation firmly in place, let us talk about what the July 2026 Visa Bulletin is anticipated to look like. These predictions are based on current movement patterns, the usage rate of visa numbers from earlier months in fiscal year 2026, and detailed analysis from top immigration attorneys who are monitoring the data very closely. Let us start with the family-based categories. The F2A category, which covers spouses and unmarried children under 21 of lawful permanent residence, has been one of the most closely observed categories all year long. Throughout 2025 and into 2026, F2A has remained relatively close to current for most countries, but demand has been climbing steadily. According to the latest predictions from leading immigration law firms, for July 2026, F2A could see a modest advancement of approximately 2 to 4 weeks for Mexico and 4 to 6 weeks for all other countries. However, there is a genuine possibility that USCIS, United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, could designate F2A as subject to the dates for filing chart rather than the final action dates chart. What does that mean in practical terms? It means some applicants might be able to submit their I-485 adjustment of status application earlier than they could have otherwise. However, this is only beneficial if you are currently inside the United States and eligible to adjust status. If you're going through consular processing abroad, the final action date is what determines when your immigrant visa interview can actually be scheduled. Moving to the F1 category, which covers unmarried sons and daughters of U.S. citizens. This category is anticipated to advance modestly for most countries, with predictions showing approximately 3 to 5 weeks of forward movement for Mexico, 2 to 4 weeks for the Philippines, and 2 to 4 weeks for all other countries. For the Philippines, the overall waiting period in the F1 category remains extremely lengthy despite this small forward movement, and for Mexico, F1 movement is expected to be similarly gradual. The F3 category for married sons and daughters of U.S. citizens remains one of the most severely backlogged family categories across the board. Predictions point to very little movement for Mexico, potentially little or no advancement, while the Philippines could see approximately 4 to 6 weeks of forward movement, and all other countries may see only 1 to 2 weeks of advancement. For Mexico and the Philippines, dates remain decades behind in this category. Now, moving to the F4 category, which covers siblings of adult U.S. citizens, the situation is even more sobering. For countries like India, immigration experts predict little or no forward movement at all. Mexico may see 2 to 3 weeks, the Philippines could advance 4 to 6 weeks, and all other countries may see 2 to 4 weeks. However, the overall backlog in F4 remains massive. The wait for U.S. citizens to sponsor their brothers and sisters exceeds 15 years for most parts of the world, stretches beyond 20 years for the Philippines, and is more than 22 years for Mexico. If you are in this category, the July 2026 bulletin is unlikely to bring dramatic news, but staying current with each month's bulletin remains absolutely essential so you do not miss your window when it eventually arrives. Now, let us turn to the employment-based categories, which are generating enormous attention and serious concern heading into July 2026. The EB1 category, covering priority workers, outstanding professors and researchers, and multinational executives and managers, has been a major story this entire fiscal year. For most countries, EB1 remains current. However, for India and China, there is a critical development that I, Timothy, need to share with you. According to the latest expert predictions, India's EB1 is actually facing potential retrogression in July 2026. That is right. Instead of moving forward, the date could actually move backward. For China, little or no forward movement is expected. For all other countries, EB1 is predicted to remain current. This is a significant shift from earlier months and one that Indian EB1 applicants need to take very seriously. Now here's what many people consider the biggest story of the July 2026 Visa Bulletin: the EB2 category for professionals with advanced degrees or exceptional ability. For India, the predictions are alarming. Multiple leading immigration attorneys and analysis firms are projecting that EB2, India may become completely UNAVAILABLE in July 2026. Let me repeat that, UNAVAILABLE. This means that regardless of your priority date, no final green card approvals can be issued for Indian-born EB2 applicants during that month. The June 2026 Visa Bulletin already delivered a shockwave by retrogressing EB2 India by more than 10 months to September 1st, 2013. That sharp backward movement was a clear indicator that the Department of State was running out of numbers. Why is this happening? 3 major factors have converged. First, USCIS and consular posts processed and approved EB2, adjustment of status applications at a very rapid pace in early fiscal year 2026, exhausting the annual quota much faster than anticipated. Second, there are virtually no spillover visas from family-based categories this year to rescue the employment-based backlog. Third, the 7% per country cap continues to impose a strict ceiling on how many Indians can receive green cards in any given year. For China, EB2 is also expected to face retrogression, with a minor to moderate backward movement predicted. For all other countries, including Mexico and the Philippines, EB2 is expected to remain current, which is actually a historic window of opportunity for applicants from those regions. The EB3 category, covering skilled workers and professionals, is anticipated to see little or no forward movement for India and China in July 2026. For the Philippines, there is actually a risk of retrogression. For all other countries, little or no forward movement is expected. For India specifically, EB3 and EB2, priority dates are often very close together right now, which means applicants who downgraded from EB2 to EB3 to take advantage of faster movement need to keep a very close eye on both charts carefully. One critical dynamic that I, Timothy, want to make sure you understand for July 2026 is the relationship between the final action dates chart and the dates for filing chart. In recent months, the gap between these two charts has been considerable in certain employment-based categories. The dates for filing chart, sometimes referred to as the application filing chart, allows applicants to submit their I-485 and related applications as long as USCIS chooses to accept it. However, and this is crucial, this is not always activated by USCIS. Each month's determination depends entirely on USCIS projections and internal calculations. In fact, there has been a notable shift recently where USCIS moved to require the use of final action dates for employment-based filings in certain months. Immigration advocacy groups strongly caution that applicants should not assume the dates for filing chart will be active in July simply because it was active in prior months. Checking the USCIS website after the bulletin is released remains absolutely essential. Now, if you are an Indian-born EB2 applicant affected by this projected unavailability, here are some strategic options that immigration attorneys recommend. First, consider an upgrade to EB1A Extraordinary Ability. If your credentials qualify, like the NIW, EB1A does not require a job offer or labor certification, and you can retain the priority date from your earlier approved EB2 I-140 petition, which can instantly shave years off your waiting time. Second, explore EB1B for outstanding researchers or EB1C for multinational managers if you are employed by a qualifying institution or corporation. Third, investigate cross-chargeability. If your spouse was born in a country other than India, you may be able to charge your green card application to your spouse's country of birth rather than your own. And since the rest of the world is current for EB2, you could potentially file your I-485 and obtain your green card based on your spouse's country of birth, completely bypassing the Indian backlog. These are advanced legal strategies, and I, Timothy, strongly recommend consulting with a qualified immigration attorney before pursuing any of them. As a green card applicant watching this on US Updates Hub, this situation might feel overwhelming. There are multiple charts, multiple categories, country of birth rules that have nothing to do with where you currently live, and predictions that are never 100% certain. Here is what you need to know about how to use this information practically. First, confirm your priority date from your I-797, approval notice for your I-13, O, or I-14, petition. Second, identify your preference category and your country of birth. Remember, country of birth, not citizenship. Third, compare your priority date against both the final action date and the dates for filing date in the July bulletin when it is released, typically in the third week of June 2026. Fourth, if your priority date is current on the final action dates chart, reach out to your attorney or accredited representative promptly, because visa numbers can expire or be reallocated if not used in time. To put this all in perspective, the July 2026 Visa Bulletin represents one data point in a long process that many applicants have been navigating for years, and in some cases, decades. In summary, July 2026 is expected to bring some of the most significant developments of the fiscal year. Family-based categories are predicted to see modest forward movement across the board. But in employment-based categories, the biggest headline is the potential unavailability of EB2 India, possible retrogression for EB1 India, and retrogression concerns for EB2 China and EB3 Philippines. The core message from US Updates Hub is this: stay informed, verify your specific dates, explore all strategic options available to you, and never confuse the Visa Bulletin with an approval or denial of your green card. It is one step in the process, and knowing how to read it puts you significantly ahead of the curve. That is all I, Timothy, have for you on this bulletin breakdown. Here at US Updates Hub, we provide all necessary visa information and procedures for your US immigration journey. It is important to understand the United States immigration processing steps, visa application requirements, processing times, forms, fees, and everything that affects your case. We will continue to bring you all the latest information about U.S. visitor visas, such as B1 and B2, work visas such as L1A, L1B, and H1B, student visas, green cards, immigrant visas including EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, and EB5, as well as family immigrant visas covering F1, F2A, F2B, F3, and F4 categories. Thank you so much for watching, and I, Timothy, will see you in the very next video. If you have not subscribed to US Updates Hub yet, please subscribe right now and hit that bell icon for more US immigration updates. Share this video with anyone who is waiting for their green card because it could genuinely help them. Reminder, this video is for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. Immigration laws and visa availability are subject to change without notice. Always consult a licensed immigration attorney for advice specific to your individual case. US Updates Hub and Timothy are not liable for any decisions made based on this content. ये रही आपकी कंप्लीट स्क्रिप्ट एक सिंगल पैराग्राफ में बिना किसी हेडिंग के चैनल नेम यूएस अपडेट्स हब और क्रिएटर नेम टिमोथी हर जगह लगा दिया है और यूट्यूब सेफ्टी डिस्क्लेमर स्टार्ट और एंड दोनों में ऐड कर दिया है। कोई और चेंजेस चाहिए तो बताइए।